What is the sickest burn you have seen a teacher give to a student? Talking about percentage of skin on the body if you get burned in health class. It was something like 18% on the back and chest, 18% for both arms and 18% for both legs, then 1% for genitals and 10% for your head and neck. A kid who we will call Bubba shouts out, "Don't you mean 5% for genitals?" He chirped, "We'll for you 0.5%. Bubba, pretty shocked, just goes, "Excuse me," the teacher just yelled really loud, "Your penis, Bubba." I teased tiny. That is what I said. Dang, that's like a 100% off skin level burn. Student constantly skips class. Teacher, "Where's Justin?" Student, "I can call him if you want." Teacher, "Do it." Calls Justin. Teacher, "Hey, Justin, where are you when you should be in my class?" Justin, "You can tell he's a little freaked out." McDonald's. Teacher, "Pick up an application." Click. I hope he doesn't burn the fries too. What sex ed said sarcastically by a 15-year-old in my class. Science teacher, "OHH, it's fine, you won't need it for another 20-30 years. The class was laughing the rest of the lesson. Student, "Can we postpone the math test? It's on my birthday." Teacher, "Well, unlike your birthday, this math test was planned ahead of time." She IE'd. My high school math teacher had 3 adopted children. He was also the econ teacher. Bad move, but oh well. And one day he was talking about loan repayment, etc. He used the example of the loans that he'd gotten to pay the adoption costs for his kids, and quoted some ridiculously high number. I am also adopted, and the number he gave was way higher than what my parents told me it costed to adopt my brother and me. I raised my hand and said this, and he goes, "Well, yeah, you were probably on sale." I laughed so hard I cried. He must have thought I was offended, because he felt really bad about it and apologized later. He was actually crying when he apologized, but I told him it was probably the funniest thing anyone had ever said about me being adopted. Why did I get an F on this assignment? Well, that was the lowest grade I could give you. In history class, we're in the middle of an understandably somber section about the Holocaust and concentration camp conditions, and one student decides it would be the perfect time to fire off a Jewish joke. The teacher just turned around slowly and said, "That's impressive." Student, "What's impressive, Mr. S?" "Well, here I am talking about Mengele and Hitler, not to mention all of the other Nazis, and yet you somehow still managed to be the least likable person in today's class. Literally worse than Hitler." We were taking a quick 20-question multiple choice quiz a few years back in a bio class, and the teacher suspected one of the stoner kids in the back had been cheating because he kept messing with his shorts. "I hope you aren't sliding that pant leg up to check the answers you have written down." The student piped back, "Yeah, of course I have them all written on my dong." And without missing a beat, the teacher fired back, "Alright, well, where did you write the other 18 answers?" The PE teacher walked into the boys' locker room when my friend was giving another one gum and asked what drugs are handing there. Friend, "They're steroids. You want some? You look like you need them." Teacher, "No thanks. They don't seem to be working." Student, trying to be intimidating, "Don't get me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry." Teacher, "Nobody likes you anyway." Context, student has turned in a lousy paper. Student, "Come on. I bet you did papers the night before when you were in college." Prof, "Yeah, but I'm smarter than you." I've said basically the same thing to my students. You can write a paper the night before if you've done all the research and other work. Basically, if you've become smart enough. My teacher was a bit sarcastic and would often joke with us. Both of these were about me, but I love them. 1. What is the difference between Gorham Rivers and a calendar? A calendar has a future. 2. Me reading a Snapple cap. The average human dream lasts 30 seconds. Teacher, "Oh, Gorham Rivers, you make it too easy." Me, "What do you mean?" Teacher, "If the average human dream only lasts 30 seconds, why are you still thinking of going to college?" Jesus, that second one. Wow. On my end of year report card that I had to take home to my parents, one of my teachers wrote, "I shall miss Goodly Lawful's cheerful presence in my class, as well as his ever more creative excuses for the non-production of work." I came back the next year after I got an A on the national exam for his class and caught him telling a group of prospective students, if goodly lawful can ace this course, anyone can. Ouch, that second one is cruel. Teacher goes to turn the AC down. Kid in my class, thank you, you read my mind. Teacher, it was a short book. James, get away from that window. Everyone will think this is a special school. Freshman health in college. Professor is talking about cardio exercise and wants examples of them. Some kids blurts out sex, to which the professor's replies, I don't think I'd consider 2 minutes of sex a cardiovascular workout. No more smartass remarks from that guy. 9th grade biology. We are learning about how when a sperm meets an egg, it creates a cell called a zygote. This girl raises her hand to ask, so do I have a zygote in me right now? He responds, I don't know what goes on in your personal life, Kelly. I had a teacher that would write ouch next to all my wrong answers on a test. You seem to be a bit of an intellectual snob. Your academic performance makes me wonder why. Whole class gasped. To shreds you say. Student, I forget why. I'm going to be one of the people running the world. By then, I'm the future. Teacher, that's like reminding me that I'm going to die. Only more depressing. Double quote. With no regard for human life. A friend and I were visiting my English teacher after class, and my friend was showing her a picture of her shoes and making sure they were appropriate for graduation. Teacher, those are fine. I just meant don't wear any H shoes. Me. AWW. I bought the cutest H shoes and now I can't wear them. S. Teacher, no, you'll have to save that for your job. Set my dumb ass up on that one. In 6th grade Latin, our teacher called a mischievous student a wart on the ass of progress. I've always loved that. So we are in pay and our teacher is new to the school but taught in juvie for a while and had several tattoos, so she played around with us but in the end took no crap. We're sitting in the bleachers one day and she leans back and undoes her hair. She always kept it in a bun or something. One of the students, among the more rowdy of us, she tolerated him. Barely, then shouts down at her, hey miss, name here, you look better with your hair down. She stops, looks at him and goes, yeah, well you look better with my eyes closed. The bleachers erupted. Kid was sticking an eraser in a Bunsen burner with a pair of tongs. Science teacher told him to stop because the fumes can give you brain cancer. Then she added, on second thoughts it's probably too late for you to worry about that. Student's name, you're my second favorite student of all time. Everyone else is tied for first. In a sea of rude and offensive comments in this topic, this one was actually very clever and funny. Jonathan, you were one of the babies the Spartans would have thrown down the mountain. So I had a friend in HS who wore khaki pants and a collared shirt to school pretty much every day. One day he was leaning over some kid's desk helping him with something, and his ass sticking way out, just tempting someone to run over and smack it. And another friend, James, does just that. He runs over and lands a perfect, incredibly loud slap square on the butt cheeks on him that made him bolt to standing up immediately. Fortunately for everyone else in the class except for James, it wasn't my friend but the teacher, who also wore khakis and collared shirts to school every day. Everyone goes silent, and the teacher turns around, bright red, but with a big smile on his face, and says, James, save that for after class. Everyone bursts out laughing and the kid, of course, never lived it down. That was the dress code at my high school. I had math last period, so we usually had the last few minutes to pack up and chill out. One girl, who would always be on her phone in class, calls to order food before she goes to work. The teacher took notice, and when she had to give her phone number to the place, he wrote it down. About a week later, when she was texting while he was lecturing, he just stops, goes to his desk, and calls her to tell her to get off her phone. The look of confusion on her face was priceless. I went to a college where we wore military-like khaki uniforms. For Halloween one year a buddy and I switched uniforms. He was a Marine that worked very hard at keeping his uniform absolutely perfect, and I was a slacker that wore more baggy versions of the required khaki. As we went to class, one teacher realized the switch, looked right at my buddy in my uniform and said, you fricked up already. You showed up on time. Good times. After a particularly bad group project presentation that basically just failed to touch on anything relevant to the core subject his review was, I asked you for a painting. You gave me a frame. That's a great metaphor. Kid walked into history class and said, "Sir, what movie are we watching today?" Teacher turned around and said blankly, "I don't know. Has your mom made a new one?" Whole class was in tears for about 5 minutes. Our math teacher placed a book on the marker tray of the whiteboard with an arrow on the board connecting the book to the sentence, Marker's Biography. The book was called The Ugliest Boy. Marker was a student and was also the teacher's son. This smartass HS senior in my freshman algebra class v Mr. Capital S. Hey, Mr. S. You've been teaching forever. Getting pretty old, aren't you? Hahaha. When you gonna give it up? Mr. S. Straight-faced like a boss. Oh, IDK Adam. I figure about the time you pass this class. The guy's face was as red as a Santa suit. Greatest first day of school ever. Student calls male teacher gay, insinuating the teacher wants him. I'm not gay, but if I was, I could do a lot better than you. He had no comeback. I was up roaming the classroom, fooling around, when I should have been at my seat. Bio teacher yelled at me and said, "Sit down, you are tilting the room." I am not an extremely big guy, but big enough for that remark to make sense. I like to imagine that this teacher had actually eaten quite a large quantity of shrooms and believed what he said wholeheartedly. High school art teacher once asked for a show of hands of who was taking on the course next year with him. A troublemaker put his hand up and the teacher just said number. You behave as well as you look. The class lost their crap after that one. This was in junior high, which I think was 8th grade. We had a math teacher who was a bit rotund and rosy cheeked and upon reflection a bit effeminate. As we all know, girls of that age can get a bit tightly wound and dramatic. So every time there was a confrontation like that in class, he would sing the Teapot song at them with dance move and everything. For those who do not know, I'm a little teapot, short and stout. This is my handle, this is my spout. When I get all steamed up, hear me shout. Tip me over and pour me out. Probably the most effective 14-year-old girl diffuser I have ever seen. That was adorable. I was a teacher for a few years some time ago. During my first year of teaching was when Eminem was getting really popular. I had this one student who was very into Eminem, to the point of replicating haircut, hair color, style of dress, etc. This student was also frequently disruptive. One morning, as I was trying to start class, he was standing next to his desk, chatting with another student and totally oblivious to the fact that class was starting. So I look right at him, get his attention, and say, "Are you the real Slim Shady out number?" Then sit down. Small victories. Student, can I go to the bathroom? Teacher, I don't know. Can you? Student, well, you could always help me out. Teacher, this isn't a science class. I don't have any tweezers. Double quote. To the burn ward with you. Strong counter for a weak one. Nice. Writing a quiz. Teacher, okay, kid's name. Finish up. Kid, I'm thinking. Teacher, I thought I smelled burning. Teacher, me and my wife got a new dog and we're trying to think of a name. Student, why not name it Butthole? Teacher, that's a good one, but every time I'd call my dog you'd come running. My dad was a high school teacher about 30 or 40 years ago. He was pretty young, so his students felt pretty comfortable around him, and felt comfortable messing with him. There was this one student who decided to put a tack on my dad's chair before he came in one morning. My dad noticed it before he sat down, and decided to keep standing. A few minutes into class, the kid got called to the office. My dad took the tack and put it on the kid's chair. When the kid returned, the other students were able to hide their snickering pretty well. He sits down and immediately jumps about 6 feet in the air. The class bursted out laughing. My dad always wins. This was about 2006. Student, the song American Idiot was written about you. Teacher, Boulevard of Broken Dreams was written about your future. This is the one that made me laugh. Sounds like one of my old teachers. I once rushed through an AP English essay at the last minute. It was returned to me with a litany of red ink and a question at the end. Why waste this paper? Happy ending. I got a 5/5 on the actual AP exam. You have been visited by the cute puppa of charisma and flirting. Smooth talking and successful flirts will come to you, but only if you comment, "Hey there, puppa," below this picture. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.